In the remote highlands of Afghanistan, life perseveres under conditions that would test the hardiest of souls. The village sits quietly beneath a thick blanket of snow, its modest homes built to withstand the biting winds and relentless cold of minus 63 degrees Celsius. The sky often remains a dull gray, the sun a rare guest in this frozen landscape. The air is crisp, each breath a visible puff that dissolves into the frosty silence. Paths through the snow are worn smooth by the footsteps of villagers, each step a testimony to their resilience. The villagers' lives revolve around enduring and adapting to the unyielding cold. Days begin early, with men venturing out to tend their livestock. Every step through the snow is deliberate, boots crunching on the frozen ground as they lead sheep and goats to whatever patches of forage they can find. Women gather firewood from sparse reserves, their hands red and raw from the icy touch of nature. Even simple tasks demand immense effort. The frigid air freezes exposed skin within moments. Water must be melted from blocks of ice, a slow and painstaking process, yet one of necessity. In the heart of this village lives a shepherd mother whose determination embodies the spirit of her people. Her life is a continuous rhythm of work, love, and survival. She rises before dawn, her hands instinctively reaching for the tools of her trade. A wooden staff to guide her flock, a thick shawl to shield her from the cold, and her trusty axe to chop wood. Her day begins with tending to her sheep, breaking the ice so they can drink, and ensuring they're safely sheltered. Despite the hardships, her spirit remains unbroken. Her eyes reflect years of experience, and her movements, though deliberate, are never hurried. She knows the importance of conserving energy in these conditions. Each task she undertakes is a step in her battle against the cold, a battle she faces not with despair, but with quiet resolve. The mother is not merely a survivor. She is a provider. Her modest home, warmed by a single clay stove, is a haven for her family. Today, she has decided to prepare something special, a rare and hearty meal to bring warmth and joy to those she loves. Mutton Biryani, a dish rich with flavors and memories, is on the menu. It's a labor-intensive dish, but she approaches it with the same patience and care she applies to everything in her life. The mutton, preserved carefully in the cold, is brought out and thawed near the stove. She collects fragrant spices stored in small earthen jars, each one releasing its distinct aroma as the lids are lifted. Rice, a prized staple, is soaked in a clay pot, while onions, garlic, and ginger are chopped with precision on a wooden board. Every action is methodical, her hands steady despite the cold that seeps through the walls. As the fire crackles, filling the small home with warmth, she works silently. Her youngest child peeks around the doorway, drawn by the scent of spices, a curious smile lighting up their face. This fleeting moment of joy contrasts sharply with the harshness of their surroundings. The mother's presence brings stability, her quiet strength a beacon of hope in an otherwise unforgiving environment. The villagers may battle the elements daily, but moments like these remind them of the enduring warmth found in community and tradition. Their world may be cold, but within this home, the shepherd mother kindles a fire that sustains far more than just her family's physical needs. Her story, like those of the countless others in this frozen village, is one of unyielding resilience, an example of humanity's ability to adapt and thrive against all odds. The mutton is carefully washed and set aside as the shepherd mother begins her preparations. Each step requires precision, as nothing can go to waste in these conditions. She starts by lighting a fire in the clay stove, expertly arranging the firewood to maintain a steady flame. The warm glow illuminates her hands as she places a large pot over the heat. Despite the biting cold outside, the small kitchen becomes a sanctuary of warmth and purpose. She begins by melting clarified butter, its rich aroma cutting through the frosty air. Into the bubbling fat go finely sliced onions, their sizzling sound a comforting rhythm. The onions slowly caramelize, turning golden brown before she adds a paste of freshly ground garlic and ginger. The sharp, pungent scent rises as she stirs, her movements steady and deliberate. Next come the spices, Cumin, coriander, and turmeric, each one measured with care. The spices bloom in the heat, releasing a fragrant cloud that fills the room. The mutton pieces are added to the pot, sizzling as they meet the hot mixture. She stirs them gently, ensuring every piece is coated in the rich spice base. As the meat begins to brown, she adds water, allowing it to simmer and tenderize. The soft bubbling of the stew contrasts with the occasional whistle of the wind outside, a reminder of the cold that permeates everything beyond these walls. Meanwhile, she turns her attention to the rice. It has been soaking in cold water, ready to be parboiled. She drains it carefully and sets another pot of water to boil. Adding a pinch of salt, she watches as the grains dance in the bubbling water. Once the rice is partially cooked, she drains it and sets it aside, covering it with a cloth to keep it warm. Returning to the stew, she lifts the lid, releasing a cloud of steam. The mutton is now tender, its juices mingling with the spices to create a deep, flavorful broth. She layers the rice over the mutton, spreading it evenly before sprinkling it with saffron water for a touch of color and aroma. Finally, she covers the pot tightly, allowing the biryani to cook slowly over a low flame. As the minutes pass, the scents of the biryani grow more complex, filling the home with warmth and anticipation. The children gather quietly, their eyes bright with excitement as they wait for the rare treat. The shepherd mother doesn't rush the process, knowing that patience is key to achieving the perfect balance of flavors. When the biryani is ready, she carefully removes the lid, revealing a dish that is as visually striking as it is aromatic. The fluffy, golden rice sits atop tender, succulent pieces of mutton, the spices infused in every grain. She gently mixes the layers, ensuring each portion carries the full spectrum of flavors. Serving the biryani onto simple metal plates, she calls her family to gather around. The steam rises in delicate swirls, momentarily blending with the cold air before dissipating. As they begin to eat, the warmth of the food spreads through their bodies, a comforting contrast to the harsh environment outside. In this fleeting moment, the family shares more than just a meal. They share a connection, a bond forged in resilience, love, and tradition. The biryani, prepared with such care and skill, is not just sustenance. It is a reminder of life's small but profound joys, even in the coldest of places. The shepherd mother, silent but strong, has once again brought warmth and light into their lives, proving that even in the harshest conditions, the spirit of home endures.